looks so good. I am so excited for this sewing vlog. I've been waiting for this for over a month, and I'm gonna be sharing my patchwork tote pattern. I've been wanting to make a bag for myself for literally years, and I just never made time for it. I never make anything for myself. And so they just happen to be trendy right now. And so they've kind of been more in my face lately. So what I did was I drew inspiration from several different sources, and then I sketched out exactly what I wanted. I literally calculated all of the measurements. So in this sewing vlog, I'm going to walk you through my creative process. We're going to make it together. I'm going to share pretty much just the whole process and any troubleshooting things that come up. Hopefully those will be minimal. But if you're new here, I just kind of leave that stuff in and then just share how I work through it. So a few weeks ago, you probably saw my fabric haul from Hancock's of Paducah in Kentucky. And this is the lineup for the patchwork tote bag that I'm going to make. So this is the primary fabric, and then these are all the secondary fabrics. And then I have a solid purple somewhere for the lining fabric. And if you sew, there is no greater self-control than not just buying new fabric, buying gorgeous, finding the perfect palette, and not cutting into it for weeks. I would rather try to not eat the Oreos in my cabinet right now. So how I came up with the pattern. So I've saved several different tote bags and sizes and stuff to my Pinterest board. And so I drew inspiration from all different pictures on Pinterest. And then I did watch and save a tutorial from the channel. Is called DIY Today's Sewing and Embroidery on YouTube. And they have a basic tote bag pattern, but the reason I liked that one is because it has a bottom to it. It's not just the sides coming together and then you clip the ends and it creates the bottom. It has a separate piece that is the bottom. So basically I wanted to create my own pattern because I saw all these, like I liked this particular feature of this bag and I liked that pocket on that bag, and I wanted to put them together. So the reason I came up with my own pattern was that was not the plan. I liked all these different features from different bags, like that pocket on that bag. I like that bag, but I want it to have its own bottom. I like the ruffle on that one. And so I just decided to come up with my own, and I really liked the patchwork style. I am here for the patchwork trends because I've always loved anything like granny, cottagecore, like patchwork. And so one of my first quilts that I ever made when I was first learning to actually quilt like blankets and stuff was this variation of different squares and rectangles. The style of patchwork that I've come up with is not novel, but I really did like sketch this out, and I color coded it. I'm using 4 fabrics, so there's 4 colors, so that if all goes well, this is the third one that I sketched out and did color coding because I kept messing up, so that no 2 fabrics are touching when you lay them out. Basically, there'll be different variations of like large and smaller squares and rectangle. If you're not new here, I can't speak half the time. I'm trying to say rectangular pieces, there it is, where we're just gonna work in and mix and match all the pieces. So let's start cutting. Also, if you are new to sewing, measure twice, cut once. Don't ask how I know. If you cut it wrong, it's like a slice to your gut. Measure twice, cut once. So if you unfold your fabric and you see these like wrinkle lines, like typically if those are really bad and you want to get precise cuts, you want to make sure that you iron those out beforehand. These are really not that bad because I kept them folded up pretty nice as soon as I got home. But sometimes, like, I'm not going to be cutting way down here, but I don't know if you can see, there's some like really big wrinkles right here. And so I would probably iron that out beforehand. But just make sure that your fabric doesn't have too many wrinkles in it because it will affect your cuts. So I did a review of my new fabric cutting toy a few weeks ago, and look at these lines. The first few lines I cut with strips, like when I was learning to use it, they were kind of wonky, but once I figured out how to manipulate the ruler with it properly, look how straight. Looks pretty good. So I cut all of these like all at once instead of like laying them out, cutting them, folding that one up, putting it away. I did cut this one by itself first because I forgot that this is 90 inches, I think, instead of 42 or 44. And so there was so much of it already. I just did this one separate. So if you've been curious about the fabric cutter and like it doesn't get precise cuts, like you've seen mixed things about it, I have learned a trick with the ruler. Now we're just going to pretend like this second strips I cut here was just still attached, right? But look how straight it cut it. And that's because I did use the ruler. Now for the second cut, I was cutting along the 13-inch line right here that you probably can't see in the video. But before I placed the cutter, I put my ruler where I wanted it to go, all the way down. And then I moved it up a little bit and I gave myself some space down here at the bottom. So that way I can pick up all the layers. I only have 3 layers here, but it can cut up to, I think, an inch or just over an inch. So you pick that up and then you want to make sure at least the first rolly thingy is on the cutting mat, or it's going to be kind of hard to get going because that's how it moves. And so I pick that up. And then, well, let's pretend like it's not cut. I pick that up and I just put it underneath just to guide it up. So you can either leave the ruler right here, which is what I do, because it's right there. I can cut a straight line for like an inch until it lines up with the ruler, or you can just pull it down to line it up even further. But you have to make sure that your ruler doesn't move, obviously, and you can cut this blade as close to the edge of your ruler as you can. It's not going to nick your ruler. I haven't had that issue as long as your hand is steady, slow and steady all the way up. Essentially to create the pattern and the measurements, I worked backwards. So I did start with the measurements from that DIY embroidery channel on YouTube and that basic like off-white canvas bag that was in that video. And I kind of finagled how I wanted to do the sizing. And then from the big piece, I kind of divided and figured out how many of the squares that I wanted to make. I started with large squares in my head. Like how many squares across to get the full measurement, how many squares down to get the full measurement. So the thing about the patchwork is it's super versatile. You could just leave it at this and just have giant squares all the way across. You could just make a bunch of little squares and do like a giant patchwork all the way across. You could do it all kinds of different ways. That's what I did. I started with the large squares, and this is where I cut down all the smaller ones. So we've got the regular size, the small size, and then we've got the rectangles, and they're all cut from this size. square. So now comes the fun part of piecing them all together based on my color-coded sheet here that I made just for myself. If I actually do turn this into a pattern, I will figure out something much better looking than my highlighter markers. I've already run into a problem, but it's a very fixable problem. So let me show you what I did. So one of my fabrics is directional. A lot of times florals go like it's not directional, but this one is, as you can tell. So let me show you what I did. And these are extra squares, thankfully, that I can use. When I was cutting the rectangles, I was just cutting them all like this, not realizing that I was going to turn them. And so here are some extras that were cut, and so I'll just go ahead and cut some this way and count how many I need to fix that before I keep going, because I'm going to run out of room. I wanted to lay out the whole front panel before sewing, but I'm going to run out of room. With. I am so excited. If I sound obnoxious, I apologize, but it's just so beautiful. Okay, if you're looking at the layout and you're like, oh my gosh, that's massive, there's going to be a lot of, not shrinkage, but kind of with all the seam allowances. So on this, I gave myself 1/2 inch seam allowance. I know 1/4 inch is the standard, but I would rather it be too big than too small. I love a giant bag, so if it turns out ginormous, that's fine. That is specifically why I have only cut the patchwork pieces so far. I haven't cut the lining fabric. I haven't cut the batting. I am going to use warm and natural cotton batting on this. I use the polyester batting for like all my boxy bags and the other sewing products that I make, but I really just wanted that extra plush texture, and so that's why I went with warm and natural on that one. So I'm gonna start piecing this together, and pro tip, take a picture. If you're doing any kind of piecing that you're then gonna be picking up and sewing together, make sure you take a picture of the whole panel so you know where everything goes and where you had it. And I don't usually sew in the afternoons when I bring my daughter home, but she has some chores to do. And so I think while she's doing chores, I'm gonna come back in here and keep playing with my new fabric. So as you can probably tell from what I've shown so far, I pieced all of the small squares together. And so now I'm gonna go row by row. I'm gonna sew the whole top row together and then just go all the way down and then sew the rows together. I'm hoping to get the first panel completely pieced together before I leave to get my daughter. But something I wanted to show you, this isn't a troubleshooting thing, but it is something of note if you're like, you kind of sew and you're watching this and you're like, oh, I can do that. So again, I cut all of the rectangles and the smaller squares from the big squares. However, when you're piecing all of these together based on your inseam, both this one And then all of the ones that were pieced, it's not going to be the same size as your big square. And I knew that was going to be the case. It's just at the time, like when I was doing the measurements in my head and trying to like map out what to cut, how big to cut them, and how much to cut, it was just easier to do it this way. So from here, I think what I'm gonna do before I piece all of these together, and this is gonna make more work for me, I think I'm gonna square up all the squares, meaning I'm going to cut them all down to the same size. I'm gonna see what size the 4 square is, because this would be the smallest one, and size them all to this one. Okay, after I ironed it down, this ends up being, okay, right at 6 by, we'll just say 6 inches instead of 6.5. Okay, that's good. We can work with that. So we'll just cut down the big squares to 6 inches instead of 6.5. I've pieced all of the rows together, and I've come across troubleshooting number 2. So the biggest struggle for me when I do patchwork stuff is making sure all the squares line up the way they're supposed to go, right? I'm less concerned with like if these 4 squares match up with this one. Honestly, I would really like the lines of each block to match up, if that makes sense. And so what I did, I left this one on the bottom so I could show you. So do you see how when I line up these lines, this one is just off like a little bit. Now this is not enough to really bother me that much, because I could scoot it over just a little. It's gonna make not a big enough difference on the bottom for me to care, but I've already fixed it. But this one was actually like way over here. It was not lined up at all, but the other ones over here were. And so all I did was, you can see I just sewed like another line just to kind of shorten that just a little bit. So when the project is done and the whole panel is on the front of the bag, you're not going to be able to tell if this very end square is actually just a smidge shorter than one of the other size squares. But what will show is if each of the block lines are uneven. Confessions of a sewist, I hate using pins. I don't pin anything. I use quilt clips for everything. They're in my Amazon shop if you're not sure what I'm talking about. But I am going to pin these layers together just because I want to try and get those lines squared up properly. I got the front panel done. It's so pretty. Like and if it looks massive, it's supposed to. Can we just appreciate how the strawberries and the purple checkered are just giving all the purple southern vibes? It is the perfect balance. Like, I am so tickled with this palette. It looks so good. And then there's like this pink ditzy floral to just kind of round it out. Okay, so I know the panels were supposed to be big, but this one is super big. So I went back and looked at my notes. And the one that I was basing this off of is 18 by 15 inch panels. This is not 18 by 15 inch. So this thing is 34 by 23. And can I just tell you, this is the dumbest mistake, but this is the mistake I made. So 18, I was doing like 6-inch squares. So 6 goes into 18 3 times, right? So why I put 6 across instead of 3, I don't know. And then I put 4. So basically I put 6 squares across and 4 down. Why I didn't do 3 by like, even if I did like 4 by 3, that would have been better. But anywho, I have more fabric that I can make another one after this one for the correct, like, everyday tote size. This one's just gonna be giant. Okay, so I managed to salvage it. I did change it to 1 2 3 4 across by 1 2 3 down. I just ended up taking off that bottom row, but I want you to notice how like nice and uniform the lines are on this is the first one. I did a pretty good job. And then this is the second one. And you can tell I was getting kind of frustrated. These do not line up here, and I was just kind of over it at this point. Like, this is for me. I don't mind it. Okay, so here is the finished panel, and this is as close to the original size as it's supposed to be. The original size was supposed to be 18 inches. I am glad that I picked a ton of stitches to redo this, and so it's 4 squares by 3 squares, which I think is 22.5 inches across. And so what I did for the bottom, just whatever the width of the panel is, that's how wide you make the bottom. And I had several of the rectangles left, and so I just did that. And then I added this at the top and bottom because I needed just like a smidge more, like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch on the top and the bottom to make it the width of the base of the bag that I want. So early this morning I came in here kind of not taking my sweet time, but kind of like before I planned to film. I got some other things cut, and like I was gonna share like the zipper situation and what I messed up on, and went for a jog, came back in here. It's like 11 something, and now I just got a call that my daughter's school is letting out early because we have more inclement weather. I'm so thankful and grateful that, you know, everything is safe. We are safe. Our home is intact, you know, but oh my gosh, it's so bad this year. But anywho, so now I'm scrambling. I'm like, ah. But anywho, now I'm like, oh, I have 2 hours. I was hoping to get it finished today. That's not gonna happen. So now that the panels are quilted, I'm gonna kind of share some of the features that I saw from different bags, both on Pinterest and some bags that I have and use, that I wanted to kind of combine all of these features into one bag. And one of those was I wanted the straps. This is actually a handmade bag. I just didn't make it. The brand is Outside In, and it's local to where I live, but I wanted the kind of straps that go all the way down the bag. And then on this one, it's sewn into the bottom. However, I didn't want the bottom to look like this. I want an actual bottom because I want this to be like a true tote bag. I'm gonna be like throwing post office drops in there, my laptop, my tech bag, whatever my daughter gives me to hang on to, you know. Anyways, and then I also really love, my favorite part of this bag is this giant front pocket right here. I throw my phone in here all the time, and it's super handy. I don't have to go digging down in the bag to find the phone. So this was a non-negotiable for me. So in addition to the pocket, this is an old Vera Bradley. The good thing about Vera Bradleys is they do last a long time. This one also has a smaller pocket that back when our phones were smaller, I would use it for that. But it has the zipper pocket on the front. And I like the zipper pocket for small, like chapstick. I'm a chapstick girl. I use it like all the time. Stuff that I just want to easily access, or like my keys, my truck key, just anything. And then my daughter manages to give me very tiny things to hold for her all the time, like earrings, keychain, whatever. I need a zipper pocket. So for the zipper pocket, like let's say this is the front panel, right? And the zipper pocket is gonna go here, and then the straps will go up this way. I kind of wanted it to be a little more center, but I've got some layer situation going on here, and I didn't want to add that bulk right here. I just didn't like how that was gonna look like this. In retrospect, I wish I had made it just a little bit taller to kind of just, you know, balance out the bag. But let me show you where I messed up. I did quilt this front panel here. I quilted the front panel and then this right here. I was trying to not do zipper tabs because the edges of the zipper are going to be hidden behind the bag straps that are going to go up beside it, right? And so what I did initially was I forgot to put another lining piece inside of the zipper pocket, and so when you would open the zipper pocket, it was just this wrong side of that. So I went, that's what all these little stringies are. I picked the stitches and I fixed that. So we just have this folded over situation, and I'm trying to be very careful not to let that zipper come off, because then I'll have to pick the stitches on the whole thing. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do this just to be extra careful. And the other thing that I wish I hadn't done, so on the Vera Bradley bag that I was drawing inspiration from, you know, they quilted this panel just like I did, but on this top little piece, they just kind of did these lines. So that's what I did. I don't regret doing the lines, but I just wish that I had only done like maybe one line in the middle, so that way I could do a true top stitch here. You can kind of see I did a top stitch here, okay, and I would have liked to have done a top stitch here, but it's okay. Again, this is for me. And then I would have liked to have left this line off so that when I flipped this over, I could have just kind of tacked that down. You know what I mean? I thought about going ahead and stitching over it, but I just didn't like the way that would look. I think once this is tacked down on the panel, it'll be fine. Like that's, I'm probably being nitpicky about that. But if this was for a customer, I would have completely redone this zipper pouch situation. Tell me you sew without telling me you sew. Okay, so now let's talk about the straps. I already showed you that I wanted the straps that come all the way up the panel of the bag and then over the shoulder. The problem is my dimensions are not the same dimensions that were on the video that I mentioned earlier that I drew inspiration from. So what I did was the height of the panel is 16 inches. So 16 times 2, I need at least that much. And then this is just like a Moda bag that my local quilt shop gave me back during COVID when I was buying lots of fabric. And so I put this on, and I'm super tall. I don't know if y'all can tell when I'm filming in here, I'm 6 feet tall. And so I need a little bit extra strap. This is almost like too short for me. And so I measured the length of this strap, and then I added like 5 inches at the bottom. So that's how I figured out how much I need. And so I went ahead and cut the strips. And this is literally what I did. So I laid this against the panel. Okay, here's the big giant, what will be the strap. I laid it against the panel to take away the 16 inches. I literally put it on my arm like this. This is so silly. I wonder if anyone else has done this. Oh, I don't want to show you my armpit. But, so like this is how low it would hang on me. And for me, like I really like that. I might take off I might take off like 1 inch and that's it. But again, I'm super tall, so I need some really long straps. Again, I'm super tall, so I need some really long straps. I do love my wool mat. Like honestly, since I got this wool mat, I got it, it's in my Amazon storefront and it's super cheap. I get out my ironing board much less often because having this right there on the desk next to where I'm cutting, and honestly, when you're piecing a bunch of patchwork pieces or just small pieces, you really don't need your big ironing board. And to me, a lot of the time it's kind of in the way, but I did get it out for my panels because this is some really big pieces. And also, if you sew and you're not using basting spray, girl, what are you doing? This is my secret sauce. You don't use that much. You kind of just spritz it. I just kind of like that. And it helps hold your piece in place. Now it is adhesive. I mean, you can pull the panel off if you get it wrong, but I kind of like to just be careful where I place it. Kind of spread it out with my fingers. I didn't spray the bottom. And so when you're actually quilting a piece, it helps just keep it in place. I have not used pins or safety pins in years since I started using this spray. Used to be able to get it at Joann's, but so I just get it on Amazon now, and it's, again, it lasts a long time. I'll make sure and put the link down in the description for you. So now it's time to quilt this. What I really wanted to do when quilting the panels was to free motion. My brother in Novus does have the free motion attachment where, if you don't know what that means, it's quilting, like quilting designs, but you do it free-handed. You hold it like this. I have these like no slip gloves, and you freehand a design like this. And but I haven't done that in years. It is not my strong suit. I know what my talents are. That ain't it. And so this was such a beautiful panel. I did not want to ruin it. So I'm just going to stick with Old Faithful and do diagonals, and then work on the bag straps. As a complete side note, I'm making a jelly roll rug. This is old, not scrap fabric, but just old fabric from Joann's from back in the day. And I'm trying my first one with this giant ball. I thought it would be bigger, but it's just gonna go in our bedroom. I'm doing like a test jelly roll rug. I want to make a jelly roll rug for my room with like all my room colors. I would love it to be in this purple, but it was kind of expensive. But if you would like me to film whenever I do the jelly roll rug, let me know down in the comments. I forgot to tell you that I am using cotton batting in this tote bag for all my other quilted products that I sell in my shop, like my quilted bags, my wallets and stuff. I've been using polyester batting, and I've got to be honest, I have mixed feelings. Like polyester, it is just so much cheaper. It's, to be completely honest, the only reason I use it is because it keeps the cost down. It keeps the cost of the product for the customer down, but I don't love it. But I did want to share with you, so my go-to for cotton batting is Warm and Natural. It's superior quality. It always has been for me, but I've been trying to buy as many of my business purchases as possible on Amazon, because on my Amazon business account, if you didn't know this, you can upload your tax exempt information if you have that for your business, and you can buy as many purchases as possible for your business tax free. And so I was shopping around on Amazon. Of course they have Warm and Natural, right? But they had this other brand that it's not yardage. It was like 47 by 59 or something like that for I think $14 or $15. And so I was like, I'll try it. And honestly, it's pretty comparable. I'll make sure to put that in my Amazon storefront. But that's why there's so many products in my Amazon store, because like I'm literally trying to buy as much of it on there tax-free as possible. Really dark in here because it's about to start storming, which is why I have to go get my daughter early. So I did put my quilting foot on my machine because this is just a bigger piece. So like when we say we have quilted products like quilted boxy bags, quilted wallets, it's not like it's technically quilted because you have stitched a layer of fabric to quilt batting, but to me it's not like a true quilt. I guess it's just we call it quilted because it's a texture, you know, but this is a much bigger piece, and so I was afraid of slippage, but this just felt really weird today. Like I don't know if it just needs to be oiled or what, but it was feeling like the stitches were not right. And so again, thankfully this bag is just for me in case anything gets messed up. And so I put the regular J foot back on there, and it felt normal. Honestly, I think using the basting was super helpful. I don't feel the fabric slipping at all, and so I'm just going to use the regular J foot. Just to add to that, you do not have to have a quilting foot to quilt or get the quilted look for projects. Honestly, this is mostly for when you have a top piece, batting, and then you have a layered piece on the, like a backing on the backside, and you have multiple layers that you're sandwiching together and you don't want that slippage. You do not have to use this just to make a tote bag. To one of the panels, and they looked a little bit too long, so I was literally just gonna like put it on. And yeah, I think without showing you my armpit, I think it's a little too long, so I would kind of like it to be more like maybe like right here. Okay, I'm gonna do this right here. This is so awkward, but like this is literally how I do it. Okay, let's see. Okay, maybe just a little bit. Give it just a little bit more, like right there. Y'all, it's coming together and it looks so good. Like I did good. I did so good picking out this fabric. Oh my gosh. Okay, refocus. Let's fix the strap. Okay, so here's what we're working with so far. And I am glad that I kind of like tested it on my shoulder before piecing it together. I was starting to pin the zipper pouch right here, but let's see, we've got that's about 4 inches. Okay, so yeah, that'd be 4 inches each side. So what I'm gonna do down here, I'm gonna unpin all of this. I hate using pins. I never use pins, but it was kind of necessary. Okay. So I'm just gonna literally pull this down like 4 inches. Of truth. I didn't cut the corners yet because I want to see what it looks like. Maybe we will get this finished today. Oh my gosh. I'm a texture person, and I have to admit that the cotton batting over the polyester, top tier choice. Okay, let's, oh, I'm so excited. So excited. Oh my gosh. Okay. It is gorgeous. Okay, on first glance, that pocket is really, really small. I do wish I had either made it a little taller or just went ahead and moved it up in the center, even though I didn't really want it up there. Okay, another troubleshooting thing. I'm gonna leave it the way it is because again, this is for me. But if I were to make this again, I would make this bottom panel just a one solid piece, probably the primary purple floral fabric, because you see what has happened here. Like this purple check right here is actually one of these rectangles that is getting cut off on the inside, and the same thing happened over here. So I mean, at first glance, the bottom panel looks really, really great, but just to avoid some of that, I thought about that after I'd already quilted the bottom piece, that I was like, oh, those rectangles are gonna get cut off. So I'm just gonna make notes in my pattern just for the bottom piece to be solid. Okay, so even though the pocket's way down here, let's see if, oh, perfect. See, that's what I want. Like when I'm wearing the tote like this, I want to just be able to like pull it out and then slip it back in. So even though it's way down there, like it actually works. I have really long arms, and so it kind of works for me that it's way down there. So I finally finished it. I'm talking really quiet because it's like 9:15 at night and my daughter is sleeping. I had to wait until she went to bed because we lost power earlier today, but we're fine. The storm passed over, but here it is. I am obsessed. Like, it's so gorgeous. Okay, a few things that I love and things that I wish I had done different. Things that I love is obviously, again, the color palette is perfection. I love that I made the straps extra long, and things that I wish I had done different. I kind of wish I had maybe not done a pocket on the outside on such a large size. I think if this was a shorter bag, height-wise, the pocket would be good. It's functional, but I just think that the height of the bag, it's just a little, I don't know, it just doesn't look perfect to me. You can tell me what you think in the comments. You're not gonna hurt my feelings like at all. Cause like this side looks absolutely perfect. I love that I did the straps, like the full straps all the way down. I really wish that I had done the full solid panel on the bottom, because when you're holding it up like this, there's nothing in it. I feel like if there's stuff in it, it wouldn't be as noticeable. You can totally tell where I messed up, but like just at a glance, it's totally fine, right? And then I just did a solid purple on the inside. But yeah, it's like perfect. Oh, this is another feature that I liked. Like, I kind of like whip my bag around like this a lot and go like this. Like it's on my shoulder, but I open it a lot like in front of me and then I whip it back around. So that's another reason I really wanted the long strap. So if you sew or make bags, let me know in the comments what you think. What did you love? Do you have any tips or tricks that you could share for other people in the comments? I've made a bag before, but it was more like a shallow crochet bag. It is buried in the closet right now, and I don't want to wake up my daughter trying to get it out to show you, maybe some other time. But this is the first full-sized bag that I've actually made before, and I think I did pretty good. I do want to make with this fabric, I do want to make just like a regular square patchwork, like not all the different size squares and rectangles, just square, 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 and a smaller version of this, more like an actual like purse. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much, but we're not finished. Okay, the video is almost finished, but we are not finished with my tote bag pattern. I have accessories to make with this bag. So the next video is going to be the accessories that I'm going to make to match my tote bag. So if you want to see part 2 of this video, the accessories that go with the tote bag, make sure you like and subscribe this video and follow my channel so that you can see more crafty small biz things. And I will see you next week. Bye.